all my JUKI friends. Welcome to the JUKI studio. Today we are talking about Halloween projects. I am going to show you one that is quick and simple. You are going to be so amazed how quick and easy it is that I am sure you're going to write your comments and really compliment this one. At least I hope so. So I am going to start by telling you how I started making this project. I like to decorate for different holidays like Halloween. And I was at Dollar General, and what I like about Dollar General is that they are all over the US. And I saw these little kits. And I'm going to let you in on a little secret. This is a multi-holiday tutorial because not only do they have this adorable little ghost for Halloween, but they do this style kit for every holiday. So what these are is a felt shape, and they give you the different appliques for the different embellishments. What I liked about the ghost is that there are two different face styles. And let me show you what I mean. On the one that I have already made, and I'm going to pick little Casper up, this one is already made into a little stuffy, a little pillow, a little stuffed animal, and I have one style face. But when you're looking at the one that I've cut out to make the one I'm going to show you, it is a different style face. So you could actually do one that could go on the wall the way it's intended to, and do one that's a little stuffed animal. I love that this is absolutely kid friendly. You could do this with your little ones, with your Girl Scout troops, whatever. And I love getting children involved in sewing. Now let me explain to you what I did. The base shape is a stiffened felt, and this became my pattern. Now, if you were making big decorator pillows, I love that this can become your pattern for an applique, for a pillow, for many, many different things. And I like that it's really multifunctional. What I did with this is I cut it out of fleece. And the reason I used fleece is that it is stretchy, it is soft, so very sensory friendly, and I enjoyed that. Now, I have my 2 layers cut out, and I have my face placed on the right side of my stuffed animal. And I'm using a glue stick to hold this down. And what this will do, it will tack it down for me before I can get it to my sewing machine. Now you could use a fusible web, you could use a hot glue stick, but I just find that these glue sticks are really very user friendly, and I'm just putting a layer of glue on that with the glue stick, and I'm bringing it right over, and I like that I can position this and get it exactly how you'd like. I think that little face came out adorable. Now, I will be going to my sewing machine and tacking these down. And what I will be doing is tacking down the face. That way you could see that. I am using a gray fabric so that you could hopefully see my stitching lines, not only on the pillow, but everywhere that I'm stitching. I'm going to move my little basket out of the way, and I am going to stitch down my face. Now, I did put that on the right side of my pillow. Now, I am going to use just a straight stitch along the edge. I'm going to slow down my speed, and I am going to make my stitch length 1.8, just a little bit shorter to make that a little bit easier. And I'm going nice and slow so that I can really turn those pieces and really do that applique really nicely. Now you would do this for the eyes and the mouth. I am going to stitch down just the mouth, but if you are making this at home, you would do all of those 3 pieces. And I love the fact that these come already cut out. I know I've traced these on paper so that I could use these shapes in the future and for other projects. And I've locked my stitching, and as I said, I just did a straight stitch, and I am going to bring that forward so my mouth is stitched down. You could see that on the back, and I would be doing that for all 3 pieces. I would not rely on just the glue. Now, to make our little stuffed animal, I just think this one is so cute. I am putting 2 layers of my fleece, right sides together, and I cut this out using that base template. I cut it a little bit larger just by eyeballing it. You could bring this to the copier and enlarge it. You could do many things and make this many sizes. Now, we do need to leave an opening, and I am going to tell you that in the curved area, either right here or right here where it flattens out, not too curvy, is the best area to leave an opening. It will be easier to slip stitch this. The only thing that I will say is leave yourself enough of an opening to get that stuffing in. Don't leave yourself a little 1-inch opening. You will really not be happy as you are making this. Now I am setting my machine to a 1/4 inch stitching, and I am going to stitch all around, and I am going to leave my opening. Now I am going to use a locking stitch where I am leaving that opening just to secure that, and I'm doing that at the beginning and at the end. And I will be going all around this. Now that I've sewn all around and leaving my opening, in any of those tight curves, I am just going to do a little clip, and I do not want to cut my sewing thread, but this will allow my curves, when I turn this inside out, to come out beautifully. And this is a great trick. And with little ones, I like to use safety scissors if I have my little ones doing this. And this just makes turning that inside out so much easier. Now I have to be careful of my eyes because I didn't sew them down, and this would be why I said you really do want to sew those down. And I'm just gonna lay that, And you want to, with an object that isn't too pointy, just pop out all of those areas. And I am going to be right back once I finish turning this completely inside out. So as you can see, I started that stuffing process. And what I like about using fleece is I can really overstuff and get a beautiful shape to my ghost. And I have done this for other holidays where they did a little turkey. So just keep an eye out for these little kits because I have found so many secondary uses for them. And as this is stuffed, you could see where it makes it much easier to leave a larger opening so that you could really get that stuffing in there easily. I've done that too many times where my opening was too small and I just struggled getting that in there. Now that opening that I've left, I can either slip stitch that with a hand sewing needle, which is what I did on my first one, or you could actually do this on the machine itself, which I will show you. Now, when I do this, I will have gray thread on my machine so that you could see how I do that, but you would be switching this out to an appropriate thread color. Now, I've gotten enough stuffing in there where I'm going to be happy with that tail. And what I'm going to do is just move that stuffing out of the way so that I could bring my edge to the sewing machine. And I could either leave this with a little bit of a raw edge or turn it under. I leave the raw edge on my fleece because it does not ravel, it will not fray, and no one will notice this. And I am just going to top stitch right along that edge. And it's possible to do that on the machine because I've moved that stuffing out of the way. And then all I need to do is manipulate and play, and that will fill in beautifully. So here, what I've made is a his and hers, and I have them going in different directions where they're waving to each other. Aren't they just so cute? I can't wait to see your little ghosts that you make, and I hope you really do play with the sizes and do send us pictures and let us know what you think of this cute project. Again, until next time, thank you for joining me. Bye-bye.